and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Say, it's Miller time! Welcome to Miller Time, the segment where Frank Miller is king, as well as the jester. This cover is awesome, and I can't help but think it's trying to one-up Superman's first cover. Action Comics #1 had Superman smashing a car into a rock. For Captain Marvel, he takes that car and tosses it into a wall like he doesn't even care. I mean, look at that! The guys were still in the car! They're dead now! He killed them! Gangway for Captain Marvel! Captain Marvel, defender of the bicycle lane! We open with the Joker narrating to himself. Gotham City cries. Gotham is an ugly city, full of shame far beyond redemption. She's a sad old whore. Because with Frankie, it always invariably comes back to prostitution. But she's beautiful when she cries. I love her when she cries. I love her only when she cries. Oh my God, Frank Miller, just go and have sex with a building already! Even the villains are gushing about how much they love their friggin' city! Hey, I know, let's play a game called Good Writer, Bad Writer. Good Writer, Scott Snyder. In his Batman books, in particular Gates of Gotham and the Court of Owls storyline, he talks extensively about the architecture of Gotham, the symbolic meaning behind every brick and mortar, and then creating storylines where that architecture comes into play and asking the question of who really is the one in charge of said city. Bad Writer, Frank Miller. I love this city because of vague poetic metaphor. Purple prose, purple prose, purple prose. Because I love it. I love it. The buildings are like my penis. Erect because I love it. And thus Particle ends up in another dimension. Specifically, Sonic the Hedgehog's Earth. I had been prepared to encounter a world much like ours with some variations, but nothing could have prepared me for what I actually encountered. In this world, Adam Sandler movies have won Best Picture at the Oscars 15 years running! Sonic the Hedgehog, over there!
John Freeman, over here!
Also, Tails, just remember, you need a comma in that sentence or else you're calling Particle Sonic the Hedgehog. Although, that probably would be the most radical departure from the series' design since that time Sonic turned into a werewolf. I am Shazam! Whew, I was worried for a second there. I thought he was going to say he was Kazam. I do not want to green eggs and ham it right now. A huge black cloud, a blinding lightning flash, a deafening peal of thunder form out of nowhere as the old man speaks his name. You think that's bad? You should meet his daughter, Frau Blucher. We cut to Ohio, where someone else has taken up a superhero mantle and is standing awkwardly and shoving her ass out. To my irritation, she's dressed as Big Barda, all-around badass and ass-kicker extraordinaire. Former porn star Hot Gates, now calling herself Big Barda, today declared herself dictator of Columbus, Ohio. Frank, how is it that you continue to find new ways to piss me off on every page of this garbage? Oh, and calling her Hot Gates, probably referencing 300? Well, all I've got to say to that is that while I was aiding the invasion of Wallachia, Benzai basically explained that 300 is about constipation.
You know, you have this tight spot that the Greeks and the Spartans have to protect, and they're like, you know, like if we keep this spot like very tight, like, you know, the numbers will come to nothing. And so basically you have this crowd of like black people in the dark, and they try to get in this tight spot, like forcing the way, and they're like, yeah, you know, we don't let them in.
Isn't interpretation of symbolism fun, Frank? Shazam explains that for 3,000 years, he's used those abilities to battle evil, and he doesn't look a day over 2,000. And during that time, I have seen everything, known everything, that happened throughout the world, from the highest to the lowest. Unfortunately, that means I've had to watch every episode of 2.5 Men. However, Johnny West has the answer. You can, by standing proud in Acme Boots. They have a certificate of authenticity from Wile E. Coyote himself. The next day, it's a different story. And indeed, the presence of these boots somehow frightens off the bully. I presume anyway, since all we see is him walking away, so for all we know, he just didn't feel like bullying him right now. Or maybe he thinks Johnny West has his back and doesn't want to invoke his anger. This is Hurt! And the guy he's hitting, he actually kinda looks like John Hurt to me. So that just makes this doubly amusing. And introducing John Hurt as the war guy elbowed in the face. So's this, sweetheart, and so's this, boy of mine, and so's this, lover! What? And so's this, cupcake! I don't think you know what those words mean! And so's this, Schnooky Wookums! A little-known piece of superhero trivia. They can't sing. Oh yeah? Well, what about Nightcat? Okay, fair enough. Unless, of course, the hero in question happens to be a 3,000-year-old troll. Funny, I always imagined most trolls to be 12-year-olds. And apparently the photo of that is enough to ruin his career. And so our comic ends with Cat's Eye walking away with her cats. Now there's not even enough respect to be a stooge. It doesn't balance the scales, fat man, but it'll do while I come up with more creative tortures, like reading this comic again. Next, the Dare dead, Cat's Eye on the prowl, and we're not even at issue number 2 yet. Somehow I doubt you would have lasted long even if this hadn't been a one-shot, because this comic sucks.